Hello YouTube, this is Amazing here, another episode of Wargame Airland Battle. Today the Assault Engineers Brigade shake off their draw with the French and we play the Canadian 5th CMBG. Don't know why a Canadian unit's doing in the middle of Sweden, but came over to help it seems. So the last battle, if you remember correctly, ended in a bitter stalemate with the French. I had conquered Optal, but then the French used some very cheap tactics. I was actually amazed that the computer AI could use spawn trapping as a tactic. I didn't think it would be smart enough to do that, but there you go. Kudos to Eugen, whoever decided to engineer a spawn trapping mechanic into this game. Good job for you. Definitely annoyed me. I've also lost a lot of my T-55 AMVs, which is a bit of a pain, so I'll have to watch out for that. In terms of over here, I'm not actually going to be deploying anything big to Leonid. I'm just going to be deploying a simple recon vehicle and actually chuck one anti-aircraft gun at him and one infantry unit. Okay, that's everything. We have to focus a lot more on here, so we're going to invest in some artillery. We can bring it closer to the front line now, so I'm going to invest quite heavily in artillery. This is going to be an artillery intensive match. We're going to be deploying two BM-27 Ergans. These are incredibly modern and powerful rocket launcher systems, and I will also be deploying a TOS-1 Bertino. Now this is a very specialist piece of equipment. The difference between its minimal and maximum firing range is minuscule, and it doesn't actually do that much damage to armor. It's just a napalm artillery unit, but the advantage is, if you look at its armor, 10 front, 5 to the rear, this is a heavily armoured artillery unit. It's got, I think it's the same level of armour as a T-72. So ironically, it can do a lot more damage than my T-55s. Or, well, it can't do a lot more damage, but it can take a lot more damage, that's what I meant to say. Let's see, we're actually quite low on units here. I didn't realise I was so low on anti-aircraft units left. But it appears we are. I have to make good use of them. Air, don't really want to invest too much in that front. Recon, I want to invest quite heavily here. I think I was a bit lacking on recon in the last fight, so we'll deploy a good few recon units. And the plan is pretty simple: to capture Optal and try and force them out of Carton so that we have a bit of space, so that in future fights we can concentrate more on Gavel. We can send these guys to Leonid, and then we can aggress from there. Thankfully, Optal is empty, so we can pretty much begin our advance immediately without having to worry about stuff. And I'm going to fire some Ergan rounds right off the bat into it. So let's launch the fight. Fire, fire, fire. Fire some salvos that way. You move fast over to here. You're actually firing at the wrong position, and that's minimal range. Oh, I was afraid about this. Right, you stop in here, stay here. You should really be backing up. I was way too aggressive for you. You're probably going too far in, It was our ATGM unit. Oh no. This one's a fire position. These assholes. Let's try and get into position to fire from here. You should fire here. 55s, we need to keep good range. Recon, we'll deploy keep recon and 2 infantry, or 1 infantry, which we're really running out. Let's deploy some sapper to make up for it. These guys are advancing too far. TOS-1 Bertino are flying straight where those ISOs are driving into. This should do a good amount of damage. Meantime, the Ergans are going to fire here, I would say. You should back up, you should back up. Back up. T-55 is looking per way. 5 AMBs. What are Krugers? Looks like basic tank kind of things. Should be more aware of their minimal range limitations. Let's see, infantry will deploy a ATGM infantry. Give them a few supply trucks. Keep them going. Motorstrucky, get ready to ambush. Here, I want to give you some recon. Let's move you guys up here. You retreat to the FOBs. You're good, you're good, you're good, you're good. Right, let's start advancing again. We know they retreat into Micah, but we don't know where. Let's get a recon unit here, just in case they attack from Yacht. Units over here. Doesn't look that bad. I wonder if our artillery can hit them from there. Yes, it can. The spread's a bit wide, but it can hit it. Right, let's reposition these AGKM forces, seeing as they're retreating to Lilyhammer. Still not within resupply range. Okay, you advance a bit so we can see what's going on. Right, advance to the forest edge. Recon, advance a bit. Okay, that's worth a rocket barrage. I doubt the bird knows the range. Yeah, it doesn't have the range. And that's what we got. We got dedicated anti-aircraft, AGM, some kind of infantry carrying system. Quite a potent force overall. But mostly delicate units. Should allow the Argans to do a good job of cleaning that place up. Now, Lilyhammer has been neutralized, so I think a little aggression might be good here. Push up into Lilyhammer and secure the bridgehead. If we could secure Lilyhammer itself, that would be ideal, seeing as it looks like Gavel is being heavily defended here. Argans are still lining up. In other words, how far are we out of their range? You see, look at that. The actual range of the Bertino is pretty poor. Right, let's advance these tanks over here. Reinforce them with 2 more TO-55s. I'm also going to deploy just one random recon unit here. And a recon helicopter over here. And advance our anti-aircraft defences much further up, because they're a bit lagging behind really. Okay, second Durgan barrage is about to be unleashed, so let's see what it does. Hoping it can knock out their dedicated anti-aircraft missiles. As if it can do that, I can start calling in airstrikes, calling maybe the Su-25. It's expensive, so I don't really want to use it anywhere where they have an anti-aircraft systems. I'm thinking maybe some dedicated Malkas might be a good choice here. Could do well. See that they could easily bring in an interceptor from Gavel. Okay, fire another barrage. We need to keep these guys stunned. But I think a Malka or 2 would be ideal for this kind of long range targeted artillery strikes. So advance, stay behind them, take here. Bertino, I'm going to move up to Carton, just because we can do some good barrages into Lilyhammer and Malum. That's actually an interesting point. Lilyhammer is free at the moment. Malum isn't too close. Maybe it would be better to make Gavel their last base. Capture Lilyhammer this today. Seeing as the Canadians aren't putting up that much resistance compared to the French, it makes sense to launch offensives when we're on the weaker of the two, especially as we're going to be taking twice as much initiative damage as they are. Good strike would be good payoff. Is the Malka here yet? Nope, still driving in from Updal. Right, I think that's a good idea. You regroup with him and aggress up here. Of course, Lilyhammer is actually quite vulnerable, so I'm going to buy another 2 team of these guys, as well as better reconnaissance. MI9, you go in and scout ahead. Everyone else, move up here. If we can get to hold this bush, which looks like a good enough position to hold. Malka's still driving through. Let's get another Ergen volley underway. It's been quite exhaustive on the FOBs, but yeah, we're hitting stuff. And then let's save up enough points and get a BRDM to you. We'll capture Carton for now, just because that, even if worst comes to worst, we'll still have a CV and Carton to launch a blitzkrieg attack on Lilyhammer tomorrow. But we can still easily just move it up when we need to. Right, let's see, look at the kind of spread on the Malka's shots. That's just perfect. Obviously this kind of artillery, that's the thing, rockets aren't, mostly rockets are a morale weapon. You don't really use them to actually kill stuff unless it's infantry or very light units, and most of this does seem to be armoured to some degree. The actual tube artillery is good for dealing direct damage to units and trying to kill them. Of course it does morale damage as well, and it's great for it, but you can't really beat. See, each artillery has its own specialisation. Let's move this anti-aircraft unit up here. It does leave our armour a bit exposed to their air force, but if anything their jets are going to be called into Lilyhammer, especially when we take it. I'm gonna buy 3 more Malkas, and then I might start investing in an air force. Let's just keep the artillery raining down on them. I think the Urgans, I'll only use them to actually, if they attack, I'll launch the Urgans. But for now, I think the Malkas will be more efficient. Their shots will almost always land on target, whereas the Urgans spread a bit. So, considering supplies and all that, I think